Hello, everyone. Ladislas Maurice from the wanderinginvestor.com. Today, with some breaking news, there is a new citizenship by investment program. Laszlo, our passport gentleman, can you tell us about it?
Hello, Ladislas. Good afternoon, good morning to everyone who is listening to us. Yes, it's a quite good news, I would say, because it is just simply giving more choices to people who are thinking about the Plan B and having second citizenship. Nauru is in the Pacific Ocean. Not many people know a lot about Nauru, but it's in the Pacific Ocean. So I would say that in our business of residency and citizenship by investment, it's a kind of a competitor. It would become a kind of a competitor to Vanuatu. So all in all, whenever I see a new country coming up, I think in that region we have to see how they are managing their program compared to Vanuatu and to see the advantages and disadvantages from that viewpoint.
So, importantly, what are the price points?
The price points are quite similar between the two countries because the Nauru program has been announced today. So all in all, based on the information which we have already received, then a single applicant's total cost would be 140,000, approximately 140,000 US dollars, while in Vanuatu it's 135,000. Money wise, I do not think there is a big difference in that because 1 or 2,000 US dollars really just, I do not think would influence anybody to go ahead this one or to choose this one and that one. For a four-member family, for the development support program in Vanuatu, it's 180,000, while in Nauru it is planned to have for a family of four, 155,000. Obviously, I would like to see the law. I would like to see the exact regulation so that we could make a calculation above 18 children. Is there any kind of special fee and so on? But for the information which we have so far, that is a difference. For a bigger family, it makes financially more sense to try to choose the Nauru citizenship instead of the Vanuatu one on a monetary, on a price level.
Cool, because when I compare the visa-free travel between the two countries or easier travels, because sometimes you're looking at e-visas or visa on arrival. So Vanuatu is better for developing countries. So these Belarus, Bosnia, Montenegro, a lot of Central America like El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, even the Philippines, Senegal, Uganda, and Laos are countries that are easier to access with the Vanuatu passport. But on the other hand, Nauru, for now, it would appear that Ireland, South Korea, the UAE, and the UK grant easier access to Nauru citizens than Vanuatu.
That is true, even though in the UAE you could get visa on arrival. So all in all, that is not. But the UK, I think, is definitely the biggest selling point for somebody who wants to have easier access to the United Kingdom. Then would seriously consider Nauru. Dominica lost its visa-free travel, and Vanuatu lost its visa-free travel to the United Kingdom. So for competing with them, definitely that's an advantage for Vanuatu. That's true.
Yeah. How durable is this UK visa-free situation?
It's a political decision usually. So all in all now, it's hard to predict because I would see the future and the crystal ball and everything. Then I would be most probably I would be just sitting next to the Bahamas onto the beach and drinking something like. Anyway, sorry, I'm just joking. So all in all, I foresee that yes, a certain level of due diligence would be demanded. The United Kingdom, when they cancelled the visa-free travel for Vanuatu, one of the reasons was the not high level of due diligence when the customers, when the new citizens, the new applications were checked. So all in all, I think Nauru has to be careful with this and to provide a much better and much more widespread or thorough investigation of the applicant. Investigation might not be a very positive word. So they have to do a more proper due diligence than Vanuatu currently does because of the risk of possibly losing the UK visa-free travel, which is good, by the way, because that means that bad people would be not really welcome at all. People, for example, without passports who are running away from law enforcement. So if somebody doesn't have a passport, I mean, 90% of the cases, that is a serious case. Vanuatu was happy to handle some of the people without passports. I do not think that Nauru would be permitted or would be able to do that just if they are planning for the future. If they are planning for 1 or 2 or 3 years time, fair enough, maybe they would risk it. But I think that they would keep up the standards. And for that respect, yes, better quality clients are expected to go to get the Nauru citizenship, with the hope that the UK would understand this and would accept this kind of compromise, and then they would keep Nauruan people the citizenship to travel to the UK visa free.
Yeah, and when people lose the UK, they typically also lose Ireland. The two work quite closely, especially with that open border between the two in Northern Ireland. So
Exactly.
people just need to be mindful of this. And what you raise about the extra due diligence on Nauru, the general line of thinking is that they would probably have to have fairly similar due diligence processes to the countries in the Caribbean to be able to maintain the UK, which means that this makes a clear differentiation between Vanuatu and Nauru. If you want easier paperwork, you go for Vanuatu. If you're fine with the extra due diligence, which sometimes is a lot of paperwork and can be quite intense for applicants, then, or if your case is relatively simple, it depends if you've traveled a lot and your money's coming from many different places, etc. Due diligence is always more complicated than if you've just stayed in, one state in the US your whole life, then it matters less. So it really depends on the applicants. And then also what I found that's quite interesting is the political aspect of how they decided to pitch the CBI. So the Caribbean countries like to talk about, oh, well, some of them, we get wiped out by hurricanes once every few years. We need constant money to rebuild our infrastructure, etc. Nauru announced their citizenship by investment program at the big climate change conference in Baku. So this is really about, hey, sea levels are rising and we're eventually going to get submerged and, we need money to prepare, et
We
cetera,
have
et
to
cetera.
survive, yes,
Yeah.
somehow. Yes, and we need the citizenship program to generate money for us so that we can survive. Yes, this is the selling point, and this is how it was developed based on that way of thinking. True. Yes.
Cool. And then I think it's important for people because we were having a little conversation beforehand because you've been to Vanuatu a few times, Laszlo, and they're not the same, right? Can you give us an idea of scale between the two?
From looking from 15,000 or 15,000 miles away, obviously, yeah, they might look the same, but no, they are definitely different in many aspects. Vanuatu has 330,000 citizens approximately. It has like 80 islands, 80 separate islands. Nauru has 12,000 people, 1, 2. 12,000 people only, and that is one small island, meaning that sociologically, economically, in nearly every respect, they are different sizes. Also, the history of Nauru, well, both countries, because of the extraordinary circumstances, Vanuatu is usually hit by a hurricane every second year or so, while Nauru doesn't have this kind of a problem. But then Nauru, since the 1970s, where they became independent, their economy really rather went down than up, and therefore therefore then the economic viability of doing any business on Nauru, think about it, it's 12,000 people, which is the actual market, and it's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The cost of reaching Nauru, the cost of telecommunication, every aspect of life is more expensive. So at the end, that's why this citizenship is not a bad idea. But then Vanuatu is much bigger. Also, it means that they have probably more people or more choices to choose the necessary people to do the job than from 12,000. Think about, you need, when you are dealing with foreign customers coming from all over the world, who are basically affluent people or rich people, and they have a demand for a certain quality of the service, and so on and so on. So all in all, they have to be, the people processing the applications in Nauru, they really have to be educated and really on a world level. But then it is not easy to choose from 12,000 people the suitable staff, 5 people, 10 people, because then they are being used for, they would be used for all the government administration or everywhere, because they are so useful. And that is Vanuatu, obviously, then, because the 350,000 range, it is obviously a much easier job. And just one or two aspects of life, economies of scale, and in running the government, all the government services. So all in all, yes, those two countries are different. Still, Nauru is a sovereign country, visa-free travel to the UK and UAE.
And people need to keep in mind, because sometimes people get a Vanuatu passport or a Caribbean passport, for example, to claim residency as well. They're perpetual travelers. They're traveling all over the world, and then they just, set up a base there, sign a lease agreement, and they say it's their main base. Um, that is more of a viable option for Vanuatu for sure. Airline connections, just finding a place to rent, getting a driver's license, opening a local bank account, all of these things are probably a lot easier to implement than trying to do this in Nauru, which is really, really hard to reach. So that's one point for people that would be interested for residency as well, because you can get citizenship, and then once you're a citizen, you can also claim residency in the country. Those are two different topics.
Yeah,
Great,
they are different
fantastic.
countries with different sizes, and yes, so many things can be deducted from that simple fact. Yes.
Fantastic. So if you're interested in finding out more about the Nauru citizenship by investment, or if you're interested in Vanuatu, feel free to get in touch with Laszlo. You can discuss, potentially the two, which of the two is a better fit for you. So there's Laszlo's email below, as well as a link with more information on the Vanuatu citizenship by investment program. And then we'll see as we find out more information on Nauru. But yeah, this is good news for the industry to see new programs showing
Better
up.
choices. Completely agree. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Laszlo.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Make sure to download my free ebook, 12 Mistakes to Avoid When Investing in International Real Estate, which you can find on my website, link below. And feel free to follow me on Instagram @TheWandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.